From enormous airports to highways spanning the country, China has invested billions of dollars in massive infrastructure projects. I spoke with economics professor Keyu Jin from the London School of Economics about what's next for China's infrastructure.
Well, in fact, urbanization is only about halfway done. So I would argue that even along bringing the rural population to urban areas, building more satellite cities or mid-sized, small-sized cities around urban centers, these kind of projects are still very much on the horizon. One mistake we often make is that when we think about China, we think about just the eastern provinces, but in fact the central and the western provinces are in desperate need of more infrastructure and a better environment for urbanization. So there is actually quite still a lot to do.
You know, we've seen and heard so much about China's infrastructure investments in other countries across Latin America and Africa. Is it reciprocal when it comes to building inside China? Is there a lot of foreign investment when it comes to infrastructure?
There's very little foreign investment in China's infrastructure because, in fact, infrastructure investment is one of the more complicated kind of projects to undertake that involves a longer term, kind of less liquid kind of projects. It involves dealing with the government, so there's sovereign risk, there's liquidity risk, and of course you need an enormous amount of financing to undertake these kind of big projects. And guess what? Around the world right now, the country that has a lot of saving and a lot of liquidity is in fact in China. So if we looked at the US, I think no one really admires the Kennedy Airport. And despite the fact that the US has a lot of other investments going on, its infrastructure is definitely very behind the curve. And so it takes more than just capital, more than a longer term view. It also takes leadership and coordination, which is what many countries lack.
You mentioned Kennedy Airport in the United States. In China, dozens of airports are being built or in the process of being built. So it's not just moving people around the country. Isn't it also, on a lighter note, bringing people in, especially when it comes to tourism?
Oh, absolutely. I think, infrastructure is much broader than shipping or moving goods across different regions. They also move people. They give people better access to education. They give people better access to health care. And of course, tourism is definitely one of the aspects of consumption the government would like to stimulate to help move along the economic growth engine. So infrastructure actually serves a variety of purposes, not least in dramatically reducing trade costs and connecting different regions, which will actually, coming back to our previous comment, help with a regional disparity and bring about more regional convergence, even in a country like China.